Absolutely. And now you're at Goldman. Again, 23 years there. Very impressive. The biggest thing you've learned in this industry, I mean, 23 years at one spot, you have to have some gems. What's the biggest one? What's the best advice that you've kind of gathered and that you still kind of give today throughout your years at Goldman?
Oh, there's so much I've learned from people around me. We right now have all of our summer interns. They just
Right.
arrived,
Do you
bright
see
eyed,
yourself in them
bushy
like, I
tailed,
was one of y'all?
barely. It's like deep back in the cracks of my brain. Um, but you know what I love is the curiosity.
Yeah.
And I think staying curious and finding a way to allow that curiosity to light a fire around things that are interesting and that you're passionate about has been one of the things that has kept my career at Goldman so interesting because I work at a place that is very entrepreneurial. I raised my hand to the global head of our business and said, I think we should start a business that is more focused on sports and entertainment industry
Yeah.
individuals. And we were able to do that. And that's one example of how so many businesses within the firm have gotten started. Our clients come to us, they have a problem, and we use the resources of the firm to help solve it. And that often leads us to create a strategy, a business, a priority that's focused on how can we be better for clients and give them advice and access that they may not be getting as completely as they could or should.
Yeah.
So it's been, a wonderful journey in that way.
Absolutely. There might be somebody, a young black woman or a person of color that walks up to you and they see this interview and they say, "Hey, you're Nicole from Goldman Sachs," and they say, "Hey, what is it like being a black woman in that industry for so long?" What do you tell them?
It's a privilege. I have over the past 20 years rather, seen the diversity of our leadership change. There are still, I was the first Black MD, managing director of my business. I was the first Black partner in my business. And I wanted to be the first and not the only. And so for me, it's been really important to make sure that I spend a lot of time bringing others around below and around me up so that when we look around any given table, that table looks like our clients, that table looks like a place where different people can come to get the best advice and service. And so I have a great group of fellow Black partners and fellow Black leaders within the organization. And together we collectively continue to challenge and lead the firm to be better. We've made a lot of progress, but we're not where we want to be. And that group gets bigger and bigger every year. And so super proud to be part of the work that we're doing to impact communities and change the landscape of what it looks like to be at Goldman Sachs.
Through all those years as you were navigating your career, and I found myself at times having to talk myself out of it. But have you ever experienced imposter syndrome?
I have for sure. I mean, my
How'd you
very
deal with it?
first, I just remind myself that, I come from a very faith oriented family. My father and my mother always kind of taught us that we were as smart and capable. Actually, we needed to be more smarter and more capable than others to get the same opportunity. And so when I find myself questioning that, I remind myself, that it's a privilege that I get to be in this room and that my voice is as fair and as present and necessary as any other voice. I take the fact that there aren't a lot of people who look like me as an opportunity to think differently, to give access and voice to people who may not be in the room or at the table. So whenever I feel like an imposter, I remind myself, if not for me, then speak on behalf of others.
Yeah.
And so it's an opportunity that I try not to take for granted. And if it seeps into a conversation or into a thought, I have lots of examples of people who came before me who figured it out, and I should just like get it together and
Yeah.
move forward.